Major Mohommed Ali Shah joining us on the broadcast. Very good morning to you, Major Shah. So India has now successfully test-fired a short-range nuclear-capable ballistic missile called the Prithvi-2. What can you tell our viewers about this missile, sir?
The Prithvi-2 missile is an indigenously developed surface-to-surface missile which has a range of about 250 kilometers. It can carry 1 ton of payload, and this comes 10 days after. About 6th of June we had test-fired the intermediate range of the ballistic missile, the Agni-4. We had test-fired that, which has a range of 4,000 kilometers. So, and this has a, as you rightly said, Devika, it has a very high degree of precision, which means it's very rare that it would miss a target. And I commend and I compliment and I congratulate our government for taking such a step and keeping our frontiers ready for any eventuality. And it's important to have it with us, and it was important to test-fire it, and we have successfully done that, Devika.
Major Shah, how, as a person with a background from the army, and you've been someone who's of course been following these developments closely, not just in the past year but over many years now, how do you see this shift in India's vision for indigenously designing our military requirements?
It's a very, very good sign, this entire thing of Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India. I'll give you a small example for everyone to understand it in a very simple way, in a very non-military way, so that our viewers who are not from the military can get it. We all celebrate birthdays, Devika. We celebrate anniversary, we celebrate New Year's, we celebrate Christmas, we celebrate Diwali, we celebrate various festivals. Now, we order certain things from outside. On a birthday, we might order a cake. On certain festivals, we order something from outside. Now we are dependent upon them when they would give the delivery, and then we will surprise people at home or whatever, however you want to serve it. But if you bake that cake at home, there's a different joy altogether. You are at your convenience of baking it when you want, putting it in the oven when you want, cutting it how you want. Similarly, you can use it how you want. When you go indigenous. Our Defence Minister recently said also that we are not looking at Make in India, make for the world. So when we have indigenous equipment like that coming up, it's certainly a good sign, and it's a very, very good development. I will tell you about the defense procurement procedure. It's a very long procedure. Like first there is an RFI issued, and an RFP, then there is vetting, then there are field trials, and a whole lot of procedure goes around. And then there is a certain amount of budget allocated for that. Now, when you actually make in India, why is it that the Ministry of Home Affairs, the procurement there is quicker than the Ministry of Defense? It's very simple. It's like, for example, if we talk about Homeland Security, or if we talk about any equipment from the NSG, the National Security Guard, which comes under the Home Ministry, the procurement there is simpler. So when we simplify it, when we are dependent upon our own self, when we actually make for ourselves, and then others would be dependent on us, I think it's a very, very good sign. And I think India very soon will be a Vishwaguru, will be a superpower when the rate that we are going, Devika.
Major Shah, of course, India's arms exports have grown exponentially in the past few years itself. Once India does start exporting on, a larger scale, which I'm assuming is the vision here, these sort of short-range ballistic missiles and other defense equipment, how is this a game changer really for India and also for global politics?
A very good question, in fact. And I'll give you a very small example to equate it today the hot topic everyone knows is Russia and Ukraine. And Ukraine had surrendered its nuclear arsenal to Russia many, many years ago, decades ago in fact. So today, if Ukraine would have had that nuclear arsenal, the story would have been different. Russia firstly would not have dared to have attacked Ukraine, and Ukraine wouldn't have taken the kind of beating. They're putting up a fight, all right, that's a different thing. But the kind of beating they have taken, they wouldn't have taken that kind of beating there. Similarly, so that we have a very hostile neighbors. On one side on the western front, it is Pakistan. On the eastern front, it's China. And in 2017, General Bipin Rawat, our late CDS, God bless his soul, he had mentioned that India is ready for a 2.5 front war, which means one hand China, one hand Pakistan. On the other hand, half the militancy inside the state of Jammu and Kashmir are internal problems. When we are fully equipped, others will not mess with us. Again, a very simple example I'll give for everyone to understand, you are traveling on a highway. Far away, you are going in the wilderness, say, probably you're going somewhere, you're driving from Delhi to Mussoorie. Let's take that example. And it's midnight. And the highway is, and if you're armed, if a person sees a barrel coming out of a window, the person who has ill intention will think 10 times to mess with you. Similarly, it's very important to show our strength, to show what we have. It's not projection, it is what we actually have. Unlike China, which believes in projection, here we are only testing our equipment, and it's always ready. Better to keep it ready. Many times, as soldiers on border, when we do not see action, but we keep our drills, we keep our exercises ready, we keep practicing at the practicing range, so that our weapon, when it needs to be fired on target, it fires accurately. It does not. It's like oiling a machinery, Devika. If we do not oil a machinery, if we do not start a car every morning, the engine can go off in winters. We all have experienced that. So now similarly, it's very important to keep our machinery oiled, to keep our equipment ready. Like we have a weapon cleaning drill in the army, where you clean the weapons. And there's a pull-through, there is a proper equipment to keep the metal, to keep ourselves battle ready. So our hostile neighbors will not actually dare to do what Russia did with Ukraine, in fact, Devika.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Major Shah, for joining us this morning on that particular story.